Lecture by CYC Chen Cynthia. You can pause anytime you need. 你可以随时按下暂停键。Hello everyone, today we are going to do a sketch. So you need to have your sketchbook like this. You will see the sketch on the cover. Okay, you will see the sketch on the cover, that's the sketchbook. If you don't have the sketchbook, you can use the mixed media paper, okay? So that will show mixed media is for dry media, all right? And you can use the printing paper if you don't have the sketchbook, all right? So printing paper is work as well. Then you need to have your sketch pencils. You can have a whole set like this, and you're going to get a full set of the sketch pencils. If you don't have, you can have few of them, all right? And of course, you need to have your erasers, and the sharpener might be useful for this time, all right? If you don't have the sketch set, it's okay, just use any regular pencil you have for writing, all right? So let's get everything all set for the class. Alright, so today we're gonna do the pencil sketch. So same thing, we're gonna see the real photo and transform that into our black and white sketch. Alright, so let's grab your pencils. Okay, so at the beginning you have to prepare the B pencils and the F pencils. Alright, so anyone, so F or a B. Okay, so let's see, the photo is really small, but I want to make it a little bigger on my paper, right? Because my paper is like this big, it almost like the double size. I can place 2 photos on my sketch paper. So which means I have to do is at least like the double size of the photo. All right, so same thing. First of all, we're gonna start with the layout. We have to make sure the size and the place that can fit, and they are not going to be too small, and we are not wasting too much time to do the layout. Okay, so center class, very light, only you can see it. All right, so middle, make sure you divide the paper half, so you got 4 almost like the equal size. Okay, so let me place the pencil crayon on the photo. So let's see, that's half, middle. Okay, so that's the other half. So let's see, where's the flower? Okay, so we have 1 flowers and bunch of the leaf, and those are the background. So we are not worrying about the background for today. We only focus on the flowers. All right, so let's see. Most of the flower is on the right top corner, and the bottom is almost touch the horizontal line, but they cross the vertical line. So which means we have to make the oval right here, right there. All right, so it's about here. Over the vertical line a little bit, but just a little bit, and almost touch the top, but not touching it. And same thing, almost close the right, but not. Almost touch the bottom, the horizontal line, but it's not. Okay, so make sure your circle is at the right place. Over the vertical line a little bit, most of the area is on the right. You only have a very little space on the top, maybe about 2 fingers on the right, and almost touch the horizontal line, but not touching it. So you have to leave at least a pencil size. Okay, so only line that you touch is the vertical line, but it's right on the top. Okay, so this is our first oval. You have to make sure everything is like the right place, and you are not making them too small. All right, then let's see. We have another 2 little flower not open yet, right? So it's about right there on the side of the flower. So I make the oval, not too big, but they are not touching. 1 is below, right here. Okay, so we have a giant big circle, oval, for our main flowers and 2 tiny oval. Check the place. Okay, check the place beside the flower. All right, how many stems? We have 1, 2, 3. So stem straight down, 1, 2, and 3 is go behind. Okay, so same thing, let's check. All the stem at the bottom is on the right side of the paper, nothing on the left. So now the left side should be very, very clear. Okay, so let's see how many leaves we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 3 at the front, 2 at the back. Same thing, we're gonna start with the oval. So like right here, that's my first leaf. It's not big. Okay, and they are it is on the right side of the paper, not crossing. See, it stay on the right. Second one is go behind, so the circle looks like they are overlapped to each other, they join together. And the third one is on the left side of the paper and not touching anything yet. Okay, and the other 2, 1 and 2. All right, so we have the big circle full of flowers, 2 medium long oval for the one not open yet, and 5 leaf at the bottom. Okay, so that is the layout. It's very quick. So I'm gonna pause video right here. So everyone, let's check your paper. Everything is not too small. You are not going to have too much empty space on your paper because we don't waste too much time on the background for today. We've just focused on the flower. That's it. All right, so we're done with the layout. We focus on the big flower first because this is our focal point. All right, the small flowers and the leaf, they are background. So we focus on the big flower first. All right, so let me zoom in. So it helps. Let me fold the paper. We don't need those. All right, let's see. Let me zoom in. So when we see the flower, we will have the bunch of the petal, right? But there looks different. So there are 5 petal flower with 2 layers. So you see the light purple ones and the dark red purple one. We have 2. So let's see. I have to make this flower like the donut because one circle is for the small one and big circle that we just did. So where is my small circle? I would say just right over here. It's on the side. Okay, and I put the X around the middle. It's right here. Okay, so let's see. I have more space on the right, very teeny tiny space on the left because we don't see that much here. See, I only see a small corner there. And we see more and more on the bottom, top, and the right. Okay, so make sure you have the small circle close to the left. All right, so I'm gonna switch to 2B pencils. All right, so you can see the difference. But if you think you might erase the petal lots of time, then stay with the B pencil or the F pencils. Okay, good. All right, let's see. Let's start with these 2 petals. They are bigger. So we from the X going out. This one's going this direction. You see, I put the arrow. 1, 2, and this one's down. Let's see. Going up first, touch the circle, a little bit curvy on the top, and going down to here. Okay, why I put the dashed line here? Because here has another petal gonna cover the petal number 1. Okay, and when I finish number 1, then I'm gonna do number 2. Okay, this number 1, I do the number very light so I can erase it. All right, let's see the number 2. Number 2 is going to the left. So 1, and same thing, I didn't close the bottom because the number 3 petal is covered. So that's my number 3. So we just done number 2. All right, so let's see the number 3. Same thing, touch the oval and going back to here. So I done my number 3. All right, so now I'm gonna pause the video right here so you can fix your 1, 2, 3. We have to make sure our number 1, 2, 3 petal looks correct so we can move on to do the next part. So don't be rushed, take your time to fix it. All right, so number 1, 2, 3 we done, and 4 and 5. This one is a little bit tricky because the angle, we can see the sun face, the top and the bottom, right? We can see the bottom a little bit right here, very small, like a small triangle. So we have to start with the sun face for number 4 and number 5. Let's see. So when I do the paddle for number 4, I'm not going to touch the oval anymore, so it will look smaller. All right, and I have something like the question mark right here. And number 5, same thing. I'm not touching the oval. It looks like that. So that's my number 5. Okay, and let's see. We have to do 1, 2, 3. So that's my number 4. That's my number 5. And check the below here. Almost touch the circle, but not touching it. All right, same thing. I'm gonna pause here because this 2 paddle is a little bit tricky. So take your time. All right, so before we move on, we have to clarify all the pencil light, right? Because we start to adding even more and more paddle, and we don't want to mess up or misunderstand which line that I'm gonna keep it. So first of all, I have to erase the number. If you don't have the number, you don't have to do this step. All right, but we also need to erase the vertical line inside the flower and the paddle. We don't need that anymore. You can just simply erase the center cross. We don't need it. All right, we don't need the center cross on the paper, and also the small oval. Okay, we don't need the small oval. We've done that, but we still need the big oval, so don't erase it. All right, and we try to keep them clean so we don't misunderstood when we start to do even more stuff. All right, so I'm gonna use the white pencil crayon to write number 6. Oops, can we see? No, actually not. All right, so that's my number 6, 7, 8, 9, and the little tiny one will be the 10. So we have to start with 6 and 7. All right, so let's see. The 6 is from number 2 paddle, right? Let's see. The 6 is from number 2 paddle. The number 2 paddle is right here. And looks like this for number 2, not number 3. Be careful about that. So it's go from number 2 going down a little bit pointed. But I'm not touching it because I have number 9 going to be right here. Okay, so that's the number 7. Number 7 is coming out from number 4. 4, which means this one, not number 1. Okay, that's number 1. Let's see then the number 4. From number 4 is going up and touch over the oval a little bit, a small stomach, and going down, same thing, I leave the bottom open because we have to do number 8. So that's number 6 and number 7, and see how big it's supposed to be. You have to over the oval a little bit, but not too much. You are not making them smaller. You have to make it a little bit longer over the oval. Alright, so we're done with number 6 and 7. Let's do the 8. Number 8 is coming out from the paddle number 5. Right, almost there. So from here, going up, touch number 7, the one we just did. Then going down, let's see, we have a small bump here. Going down and up. Going down and up. And going down again. Touch the oval that we did. Going back. And small curve. That's it. Okay, that's our number 8. So we're gonna do number 9. So after number 9 paddle, I'm gonna pause the video, so don't be rushed. So number 9 going up and straight down a little bit, then curve. Almost touch the oval. So from here, for number 5. So number 8 and number 5 paddle is all coming out from number 5. Okay, so going down a little bit, going to the right, and join back to the bottom here. So now I can close my number 6. I can close it, close it. Alright, so same thing. The last one is very simple. It just has a small curve between number 1 and 2. Right here, 1 and 2. A small curve. Alright, we're done with the basic shape of the flower. So same thing, I'm gonna pause the video right here. So don't be rushed, take your time to fix it. Okay, so we have a few small detail like the teeny thing right under the paddle. I'm not really sure what part of it. I think it's part of the paddle, but same thing with different shape of it. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Right below number 8. Not number 7. You have to right below number 8 and on top of number 9. So it's in between. So which means it's in between these two paddle. All right. So if you have the angle a little bit different, that's okay, but make sure they are about the same. So 1, 2, okay, for number 8, 3, very skinny, they're not thick, so you have to make sure they are skinny, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, then we have to do the enter, the middle part, the yellow part right here, the enter. All right, so there are lots. I'm not going to counting them because that is really matter, right? Even I do 25, I do 30, it basically looks like the same. Okay, so we just do a little bit. Okay, so remember we have the X right here. I still can see a little bit print. So everything have to from here. Let's see. A line, oval, a line, oval. Try to do as many as you can do it, but not too long. See, it's lots. I'm not even counting it. I just try to make them look like the same. That's it. See, I didn't have the same number. I think they have even more than mine, but I just do it like this one. All right, so when we're done with the flower, same thing, we don't need the big oval, right? We're done. So we're gonna remove the oval so we can keep the paper looks clean before we do the other detail. All right, so I'm gonna pause right here. So give everyone about a minute to fix, to clarify, so we can move on to do the other part of the sketch. All right, so before we move on, let's see the photo. I know I had write some number, it doesn't look pretty anymore. So, but we're done with the flowers, that's okay. So let's see, when we see the photo, we can tell the big purple flower is our focal point. Why? Because the other parts of the object looks a little bit blurred. They are not as clear as the big flower, right? So we know those are the focal point of this photo. So when we start to do those, we are not going to do too much detail. We just finish the basic shape. That's it. So we know the focal point is the flower, not the other stuff. Okay, so let's see, how can I do it? Remember we done the oval right here. Very quick. Once, looks like the leaf shape, and I leave the bottom open. Okay, 2, go beside it, and 3 on the other side. 1, 2, 3, and those are a little bit green parts, and the stem going back to the flower, number 2 petals, and we have something looks like those. That's it, we're done. quick because we don't do too much detail. We don't have to do the pattern because we can't really see from the photo, right? All right, so we're done with the top here. So now we can do the one on the bottom. It's very close to the number 9 paddle, but I accidentally make it too low. So let me fix it. So my oval is supposed to be right here. Okay, same thing. This is not the focal point, so I'm not spending too much time on it. So it looks like the big water drop, but upside down. The paddle separations right here. Left is bigger, right is smaller. And a little bit green parts right here, the leaf. Same thing, I'm gonna have a very thin stem to make join back. Same thing, that's kind of like the detail of this type of the flower, the lollipop. Okay, so I erase the line and clarify the paper all the time I need to keep my joint clean and neat. Alright, so now we're done with all the flower part, and the stem gonna be super simple and easy, so we're gonna leave that at the end. So let's do the leaf. Alright, the leaf right on the bottom. So same thing, our focal point is the flower, right? So we don't spend too much time on the leaf. But same thing, I'm not going to add in different types of the leaf because they will be different. So I have to see what are those looks like. It looks like the cloud at the bottom. They have the small one and the big one, right? And the top just have the small two curvy. Alright, so that's how the leaf looks like. It doesn't look like the maple leaf or something else. So let's see how I'm doing it. Same thing, I'm gonna zoom in. Alright, let's start with the middle one because the middle one looks even more clear. Alright, so from top, a curve. Remember the top has 1, 2. And the side, the bottom, small. Big like the cloud, remember? And 2, 1 small, 1 big, 1 small, 1 big, and join back. Alright, so let's add a little bit patterns. Very, very light. Okay, so same thing, I can erase the oval. Now I don't need it. Alright, so you don't have to do like exactly the same, but you have to keep the symbol that looks like the cloud. So the leaf is nothing pointed. Everything looks like the curvy shape. Okay, so keep that in your mind. Alright, you don't have to do the same, but try to make them look similar. Same thing here, 1, 2. And the last 2. And because they go behind the leaf and it looks very blurred, so I am not going to spend too much time for something that we really can see it. So about the same shape, same style. Alright, then we're done with the leaf. So I'm gonna pause right here so you have enough time to fix the leaf and clarify the circle oval around. We don't need them. Okay, so let's see. I finished the flower and the green area at the bottom, right? But before we add in the stem, we're missing a leaf. I think we have missing lots of leaf there. So now it's your choice. You can add in the leaf on the top. If you don't want to, you can just add in the stem. That's okay. So we have one more leaf. Same thing. It looks very blurred because they are not the focal point, so which means they are not really important. They're kind of like the background. But anyway, I'm gonna add it in case any one of you want to add it. All right, so when we finish all the leaf, then we can add in the stem. So the first, we have 1, 2, 3 from the left to the right. So we have 1, 2, and 3. So the number 1 is for the small flower here, and 2 for that, 3 for that. So you have to imagine there's something go behind. So have to continue from there. And all the way down. Some is go in front of the leaf, some is go behind the leaf. So you have to remind yourself which leaves go behind, which leaves go in front. So all the leaves have the stem to join back as well. Alright, so this one is for the flowers. So gonna be right here. And they're gonna join at the bottom. Okay, the last one, the stem. Okay, so we're done with the outline of the flowers. Okay, so I'm gonna pause here for the last time. Then we're gonna start to do a very quick shading. So you can prepare your 2B pencil to outline the flowers and the leaf to make them look darker. Then we're gonna use 2B pencil to do a slightly shading. All right, so grab your 2B pencil. Okay, so we are not going to do it too crazy, too dark. We just do the slightly shading, like the adding a little bit shadow right under the petal. And let's see the direction that I'm doing it. I follow the way that petals grow. So which means I'm not shading up and down, right and left on the petal. So how it grow and how I shade. Okay, so it looks like this. Do you see the arrow that I did on the photo? So that's how I do the shading on the petal. A little bit longer and very light and gentle. Just like we shading the bird, right? You have to follow the directions. Follow the directions. Up and down or right and left, depend how the petal grows. No cross hatching, everything looks like the same direction. And I'm not going to shading them too dark. I just slightly, very gently to do the shading like the shadow. Very, very light. Okay, same thing, I can do that on the small flowers. Same thing, I'm gonna do up and down. And so when I add in the shadow, it shows the difference, right? I can tell which petals go with which one. All right, so the middle one here, same thing. I'm gonna do very light. I didn't shade in everywhere. I leave lots of white space. I only shade where has the shadow. Same thing, the direction is very important. You have to follow how the petals grow and how you shade the shadow. From the center to outside. All right, so feel free, if you want to shade the stem, you can just shade on one side and the other side is white, looks like the highlight, because they're really, really too small and too thin. So I decided only shading on one side. Alright, the leaf, a little bit at the middle. See, I didn't shade this because this is a quick sketch. So I just want to show a little bit shadow. That's it. And since the leaf is not the focal point, so which means I'm not going to do too much detail on the leaf to keep them looks like the background. So I only shading the shadow right at the middle around the patterns. Very, very light, because I want everyone focus on the flowers, not the leaf, right? When they look at my sketch, they will see my flower right away, but not seeing my green stuff, because they should be supposed the flowers. They are not going to stem out in the pictures. Alright, so that's everything for shading. We only shading somewhere with the shadow, that's it. So everything have to be gentle. And when you're shading the shadow on the petal, you have to follow the directions where and how the petals grow. Okay, so you are not going to cross over. You have to follow the same directions. Alright, so same thing. Erase the extra light that we don't need it to keep the paper clean. Then you can find a spot to sign the name and write down the date. When you complete your drawing, sign the name and write down the date. 完成画作之后，签下你的名字，更写上日期。Bye bye, see you next time.